India was one of the very few countries which had actually prepared itself for the arrival of Donald Trump. We expected this to happen. We are not going blind into this. We expected this to happen because this is exactly what Donald Trump is going to do. My understanding is that the negotiations have gone off very well. Now the point is, trade is also linked to politics. India-US have a long way to go, and our relationship is such where we can actually argue on a matter. Piyush Goyal is a very good negotiator, and he's very much on the ball and very much on the job. I'm sticking my neck out.
Right.
But what I'm telling you is that definitely an agreement is in the offing.
Hello and welcome. You're watching the Hindustan Times. I'm Abhishek Singh. Donald Trump is trying to fix what's wrong with the US. In the process, he's breaking the existing world order. To talk about the state of affairs, especially after he announced the tariffs he did against friends and foes alike, I'm joined by my senior colleague, Shishir Gupta, the Executive Editor of Hindustan Times. Thank you, sir. Good morning. Now, in response to what Donald Trump said, Trudeau has reacted, China has reacted, Indian Foreign Minister has also responded, but the nature of response is very different. And the External Affairs Minister said, to quote him, that I'm surprised that people are surprised that this happened. In other words, he was saying that we were prepared for it, we were ready for it, we knew this was going to happen. So at this point in time, what is the state of affairs where things are as far as tariffs, India and US are concerned?
Namaskar. Let me tell you what is happening. You raised the point about External Affairs Minister saying what he said. Now, the current state of affairs is that as I speak, Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal is on way back to India after holding 4 days of negotiation. I mean, he's currently on way to New York as we speak right now. And they've had 4 days of intense negotiations with their American counterparts. The Indian team, apart from the Commerce Minister, is led by our chief negotiator, Rajesh Agrawal, who's directly reporting to the Commerce and Industries Minister. My understanding is that the minister will come back, brief the cabinet, the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister's office is very much clued into the entire issue. And whatever understanding that I have received from Washington indicates that the things are going in a positive direction. We may be looking at an early trade agreement, and things should be going in the right direction as far as the two countries are involved.
Okay.
Now, when the External Affairs Minister said that, why people are surprised, he's right, because India was one of the very few countries which had actually prepared itself for the arrival of Donald Trump.
Right.
The External Affairs Minister was in US 2 times, then subsequently again went back. And so there was a lot of hard work, lot of diligence that was done into it. What could be the issues involved? What is expected out of Donald Trump? And they were prepared for it, let me say that. I mean, it was not one of those things that you walk into a meeting, unprepared and blindfolded. They were prepared for it. They knew what would happen. And they were very much had a counterpoint to everything. Right. And that is why the External Affairs Minister is saying the right thing. Because the Prime Minister was very much prepared for it. Right? It was not one of those meetings that, meeting with the UK Prime Minister or the meeting with, even with the French President. Yeah. I mean, what to talk of Zelensky. But the point is that he was prepared, and India has been working on this for a lot because this is one relationship which India wants to both engage and manage.
Right. Now, what's different between the response of other countries like Canada and China? India's response has been multi-pronged. Now, even before the Prime Minister's visit to the US, there were broad-based custom duty cuts which were already announced in the budget. Then the Prime Minister, of course, went there. At this point in time, a lot of people are saying that India's response has been a little subdued.
Well, Abhishek, one thing you must learn from this government, which is already there for now 11 years, this government doesn't talk through media.
Wow.
The Modi government does not talk through media. The Modi government does not engage media to sort of spread or lobby on anything or advocate any issue. I mean, Trudeau is at a different level altogether. I mean, he can say what he wants to say, where he wants to say, because Trudeau has been saying a lot of things about India also, which have never turned out to be true. I mean, I'll cite the Hardeep Singh Nijjar case.
Right.
Now, coming back to the main issue of the entire thing, see, the point in this is that, the numbers are being thrown around saying that, U.S. wants 0% tariff, then, in an automotive sector, then various other things are going on. The fact of the matter is that the numbers are being negotiated very carefully.
Okay.
What is going to happen is that my understanding is that the negotiations have gone off very well.
Okay.
Now, the point is, trade is also linked to politics. So the decision is not purely numbers. The decision is also its impact on politics, its impact on the bilateral relationship. So all this will be taken into account once the Commerce Minister is back. The entire cabinet or the key people of at least the Cabinet Committee of Economic Affairs are going to sit down and then decide what is on offer, what can they do as a counter offer. But remember one thing, it's just simply by saying that, he's asked for that, he's asked for that. Now, what has President Donald Trump done? He has simply told the world that there are no more free lunches for anybody.
Right.
Be it China, WTO 2008, be it Europe, be it any country.
Sure.
Right? He is basically saying that I'm looking only after America.
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead.
Right.
You put money where your mouth is. And then you can do what you want to do. So whether it is Trudeau or whether it is the Mexican president, whether it is Macron, whether it is UK Prime Minister, he's made it very clear. Now, he's looking at his own electorate. He is not looking at somebody else. I mean, he's not fighting an election in Ahmedabad. So he will do what he has to do for his own country. And that's exactly what we expected him to do. So, so that is the reason why we are not surprised as to what is happening.
Sure.
But at the same time, we want the relationship to really grow, and it has all potential of growing. Now, the issue is that if we have an early trade deal, we have talked about October, autumn, but my understanding is it is an early trade deal. I mean, I'll be shooting up my mouth off, but it could be as early before even the reciprocal tariffs come up.
Which is on April 2nd.
Which is on. I'm just shooting my mouth off, but I have an understanding which says that the trade deal is going to come in early.
Okay.
Now, if the trade deal comes in early, what happens? What do we need? We need investment. We need technology.
Sure.
From US. Europe can't give us. Europe is already running into a $300 billion deficit with China. I mean, no other country, Russia can't give us technology. They can't give us investment. So which is the country which does that? Simple as that.
Right.
US. So it's a $190 billion partner. We already have a defense tie-up with them, which we have actually gone up to $25 billion since 2008.
Right.
We already have an energy partnership, which is right now worth $15 billion. And it will only grow. Because if India can buy energy from US, the prices of energy will go low. I mean, be it sort of, oil, be it other sectors also.
Yeah.
The other thing is that you talked about, various concessions being made in the budget.
Yeah.
Now, two principal things have happened. One is the proposal to amend the Atomic Energy Act, which allows the private players in that thing. Second thing is the amendment to the Civil Nuclear Liability Act. Now, both these things will allow other private players, particularly from US, other places, to actually set up reactors in India, nuclear reactors in India.
Right.
Which has never happened. I mean, not a single reactor has been set up after the nuclear deal.
Right.
Right, which we tom at that particular point of time.
Yeah.
So you have small modular reactors, you have big reactors coming in, and you will have more clean energy. Now, this is the future of it. But you're looking at technology. Which is the country which can give you a 5th generation fighter? US can.
Right. Many are saying it's a question whether India needs that 5th generation fighter from the US or not.
The point is not that. The point is that do you want to have a system which can be superior to the systems, weapons, platforms available with your adversaries?
Right.
The answer is very clear. And this is, let me tell you, this is the only proven 5th generation fighter.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right.
Russia doesn't have it. China doesn't have it. I mean, for whatever it is, J20, the engine is still Russian. France doesn't have it. Nobody has it. So the point is what you're looking at. Rather than getting into the numbers that he's asking for that, he's asking for that. The point is, what are you getting out of it?
Sure.
So this is what is happening in the deal. And whatever my understanding is, we're looking at an early agreement. And the fact is that both sides, both the leaders are very much inclined to do it.
Right.
You see, there is, so once you're prepared to do it, then you start doing at it. And Piyush Goyal is a very good negotiator, and he's very much on the ball and very much on the job.
Right. Interesting. So we have spoken about, of course, what Donald Trump said, what Donald Trump has done or intends to do, and of course, India's multi-pronged response. Now, let's talk a little bit about the impact, because at the end of the day, matter of fact is that US is India's biggest export destination, right? And, with tariffs coming in, and at this point in time, we're not even sure how will they look, because, for example, let's consider one example. Let's say US sends apples to India and India charges 50% tariffs on it. India doesn't send any apples to the US market, right? In which case, how will this work out? How will this entire tariff situation work out? So there is no clarity on that. We will come to it. So what I want to understand from you, sir, is what do you think is going to be the impact of tariffs on India-US trade? And B, what do you think is going to be the nature of, this kind of reciprocal tariff which Trump wants to bring in?
See, you talked about apples.
Yeah.
India can always export mangoes. What's wrong in that?
Right.
So the point in all this is that, what are we looking towards US to get? We are actually not looking really at Apple or, the primary stuff. We are
No, I just gave that as an example.
Fair enough. Fair enough. That's not the point. I mean, there is this agriculture part of it. There is this other part of it. But what you are getting in turn, I mean, here you're sending, you're not sending manufactured goods over there.
Yeah.
So what you're getting is the investment. You're getting in high-end technology like lithium batteries. Like, for instance, the Tesla uses lithium batteries. We still have to sort of work at it. We have sort of high duration batteries, faster charging batteries, so the entire dimension changes. So, you may lose some, but you'll win a lot also. So, and second thing, it's not one of those things, nobody is going to force tariff down your throat. You have a prime minister here who will negotiate on everything to ensure that there is no political ramification where the primary manufacturer or the grower suffers. So the negotiations are going to be tough. There is no question about it.
Right.
But the fact is that you must understand, India and US are natural allies. It's not that, US is using India for something else. I mean, if you're a big ticket player, then you don't have to sort of let somebody, force something down your throat. I mean, you take decisions in your own interest. India has strategic autonomy.
Right.
So it has to decide whether he wants to take it or not take it. But the fact remains is, at the end of the day, be it Quad, be it what the biggest partner, the trade partner. So the India-US have a long way to go. And, our relationship is such where we can actually argue on a matter.
Right.
And you can sort of, take it back and forth. We don't have to sort of simply prove somebody to something. So let me tell you.
So are you saying the benefits which will come out of a trade deal, which, as you pointed out earlier, for which Minister Goyal is in the US, which is being negotiated between India and the US, far outweighs, the risk which is associated with tariffs? Because an SBI report recently said that after tariffs, India-US trade will take a hit of at least 10 to 12%.
Yeah, but the tariffs are still to unroll.
True. Yeah.
So the point is, I mean, SBI may say whatever it wants to say. Let it come out in the open as to what do they want. Right. Let the trade agreement come out. Let me tell you, India won't be worse off. I may not say that India would be a winner in this. It's going to be a level playing field.
Okay.
We expected this to happen. We are not going blind into this. We expected this to happen because this is exactly what Donald Trump is going to do.
Right.
I mean, it is what Mexico does is their problem. What China does is their problem. What Trudeau does is his problem, and European Union. Now, we talked about sort of diversification. I mean,
as one of the responses.
Yes. So, EU this time sent a huge delegation. It was a 300-member delegation.
Yeah.
Now, understand this. Earlier, we've been negotiating with EU on a FTA. It's been now sort of, decades of negotiation doing nothing. Now, at least they'll get spurred up to do some kind of thing.
Yeah.
Similarly with UK. Till yesterday, External Affairs Minister was there. He's now moved to Ireland. They have been sort of dilly-dallying on the FTA.
Yeah.
So the point is, all this will also push other people. Like, if we are looking for diversification, so are they looking for diversification.
Right.
So the point is, it's not a simple game. And more so, a whole lot of things will happen, which actually outflow from the address of Donald Trump. His threat to Hamas, his getting Zelensky back on the negotiating table. If these two wars stop, there's going to be a whole lot of sort of, stability in the global environment. So, all in all, I think it's best let it unfold first before we start to say who's losing or who's winning the game.
Sure.
But let me definitely tell you, we are pretty much on the ball. And I think the agreement is very much in sight.
You're sticking your neck out a bit when you say that the trade deal can actually get signed before tariffs actually kick in.
No, you see, the point is reciprocal tariffs. Maybe there could be a first step deal.
Right.
There could be a sort of the interim deal kind of thing, and then it goes into the final deal. It could happen like that. But as I said, I'm sticking my neck out.
Right.
But what I'm telling you is that definitely an agreement is in the offing, and the Commerce Ministry has done a good job of it, by understanding. Now it is for the political leadership to take a call onto whether what do we want and what do we expect out of the entire thing.
Right.
This is where it stands. Right? But as far as the Indo-U.S. relationship goes,
that was going to be my last question to you. The future of, India-US relationship, because of course now there are all these complications involved. But as you were pointing out, of course, all of those complications are being sorted out in the background.
Sorted out in the background, quietly, discreetly, without sort of, people sort of, really going with a microscope over the entire thing. But the fact remains is the Indo-US relationship will grow because the two leaders are committed towards it.
Right.
And it has also a bipartisan approach where everybody in US wants to have a good relationship with India. Now, the thing is, we could move in defense direction. We could move in energy direction. If we are buying energy from somebody else, we can buy from US. There's no problem in that.
Right.
We need good defense platforms, particularly underwater systems, drone systems. You are looking at, unmanned combat air systems.
Yeah.
You are looking at fighters simply because you have a neighbor which is the rising power, right? And I'm not talking about Pakistan.
Yeah, of course. But on that note, thank you so much for taking the time and talking to us, sir.
Thank you. Namaskar.